Alright, hello guys, welcome back to the new edition of this channel at DIU. So we are going to look into another crucial analysis of basketball, whereby we are going to focus more on over point. So this is how we have been doing it, and most times we always focus more on some of the top leagues that we know that the bookmakers will always provide us with the hotline. So we always try to get or try to analyze out the risky line before going for the safe line. So now it depends on the lines that the bookmakers are providing for us. So if you want to go for the risky line, you are good to go. If you want to go for the safe line, you are good to go. So we are going to look into these top leagues. Although most of these particular women's league, most of them are not always consistent. We always experience high levels of inconsistency. Now if you want to edit out your games after selecting this particular game, because we'll be looking into total numbers of games, something around maybe 15 or 10. So if we can get up to 15, fine, and if we can get 10, fine. So the first thing that we always do is that we always check the stats, and by checking the stats we always look at the head-to-head new. So under the head-to-head new, the first thing that we always look into is the average point of the two teams. Now for example, this particular game, the average point of the two teams is actually lower than the league average point, and this usually indicates under point. But games like this doesn't mean that they will actually play exactly under point. Basketball can be unpredictable sometimes. You can say you are going for under points and they will play over points. So this particular game happens to be a very bad data that we can actually look into. But if I want to take the risk for this particular game, I'll be going for 160, and if I want to play safe, I'll be going for 150. So it now depends on if the bookmakers will now provide the odd line. Now for games like this, I would rather prefer going for the safe line, because naturally looking at the average point, you can see that the bookmakers are even providing something very safe, extremely safe. Now you can see the risky line, which is 160, 2.5 odd. You can see the safe line 150, and you can see that we still have some smaller options that we can actually go for. So that is where you are going to know that the bookmakers actually know what they are doing. We have up to like 142. Now you see what I'm talking about. But if I want to go for this game, we can actually go for 145. Yeah, we can actually go for 145 or 144. So it depends. So if you want to edit this particular game, you can stick to the safe line, which is 150. You can decide to go for the risky line. It depends on your choice. But I'll be going for 144, and I will leave it like that. Alright, so let us look into the next game. Alright, now so checking the head to head. Alright, so we see that the average point of these two teams is actually higher than the league average point. This is 176. It's a perfect data for over point. So if I want to take the risk for this particular game, I'll be going for 173. That is if I want to take the risk. So I usually subtract them from my risky line. Then that is that one will give us our line for the safe line. So let us check. Alright, so this happens to be the risky line, 173, but unfortunately the bookies are not providing the safe line, which is 163. What we have here happens to be 165. So if you want to go for 165, you are good to go. If you want to go for 173, you are good to go. Depends on how you want to edit it based on the factors that we consider. Alright, so let us check another game and let's see what we have here. Alright, so this happens to be another game, another good data that we can actually engage with. So if I want to take risk for this game, actually it's not a good game based on their consistency, although the average point is higher than the league average point, but the problem is the consistency. You can see I think we should actually skip this game. Let's skip it. Alright, so let's check this match. Minnesota against New York. So this happens to be another good game. 177. The average point is higher than the league average point, and I can see the level of consistency in this particular game. So we can actually look into it as over 170. That is if we are taking risk. So automatically the save line for me it will be 160. Now it depends on the line that you want to be using for your own save line. You can decide to be subtracting 5 from the risky line. You can decide to be subtracting 20, depends on your choice. So 170 is 1.72 odd, and we don't have 160. The lowest odd line that we are still seeing here is 167. So we can actually take the risk of going for 170. We don't have 160. So you can decide to use 167. You can decide to stick with 170. Alright, so let's check another game. This happens to be a bad game unless we want to take the risk on it. You can see the average point is actually lower than the league average point. It's a very bad data unless we want to take the risk. And if I want to take risk on it, maybe we want to consider their trend, the way they call their consistency, how they they keep the pace. If I want to take risk, I'll be going for 173 based on some average point that I also evaluate. Uh, and if you want to play safe, you are going for 163. So 173 is the risky line, and 163 is the safe line, but we don't have 163. The smallest line that we have is 167, and for a game that the average point is actually smaller than the league average point, the best is to just skip it. So now let us look into this particular game. Alright, so this happens to be a good game. We have a good game here, 172. This is higher than the league average point, and I think the best thing we can go for here is over point. And so if I want to take risk on games like this, although their consistency is not really there, because if you look at it, you will notice that one team is actually expected to dominate in this particular game. But if I want to take the risk in this game, I'll be going for 172. And the reason why I said this particular game is actually dangerous is because if one team is expected to dominate the match, it is very, very risky. It is very, very risky because the underdog will not really have the chance to score points very well. So since the match happens to be a risky match, and they are not providing us with the save line, because games like that, if we are bending rules, games like that, the best thing is to actually go for the save line. Alright, so let us check the games under the Australia League, Big V. One thing that I noticed about this Big V Australia tournament or league, their inconsistency is too high. It's too high. Okay. The average point is actually higher than the league average point. So this is good. So if I want to take the risk, I'll be going for 179. And if I want to play safe, I'll be going for 169. Alright, so let us check the odd line. Imagine the bookmakers they only provide us with the risky line, which is 179. So we don't even have any chance of going for 169 at all. So I think we are going to stick with the risky line. So it depends on your choice. if you want to leave it or you want to remove it. Let us check another game and let's see what we have here. Alright, so the average point is higher than the league average point. This happens to be another good data that we can actually look into. So if I want to take the risk for this game, I'll be going for 179, and automatically if I want to play safe, I'll be going for 169. Now it depends if the bookmakers will provide us with the line. So we don't have the line for 179, and at the same time we don't have the line for 169. The odd line that the bookmakers are providing us is limited, and the lowest line is 173. Actually it's still kind of very close to 169. I think we can actually go with it. All right, so let us look into another game and don't let us waste much of our time. So this happens to be some kind of a bad data. The league average point is smaller than the team's average point is lower than the league average point. But let's assume that you want to take the risk, you don't want to waste the game, you go for 175. But playing safe is 165. But the only issue there is that the bookies will not provide you the safe line. So 175, you can see it here, 1.96. And for a game that I don't even want to play, they are not even providing us a good odd line. So the best thing for us is just to skip this particular game, because what we're supposed to go for, since the average point is actually smaller than the league average point, is supposed to be the safe line. There's nothing that's supposed to be, nothing supposed to stop us from doing that. All right, so let us check the next one. This happens to be another bad data. Another bad data. Let us check this one. Let us check their head-to-head new. Okay, although we are limited with data here, but at least we are able to get the average point of the two teams. So the next thing is just to look at it as if the average point is higher, and yes, it is high. So if you want to take the risk, we are going for 151, and if you want to play safe, we are going for 141. Now the lowest odd line that I'm currently seeing here is 147. Now it depends on if you want to go for it. If you want to play safe, we're supposed to be going for 141, and the bookies are not providing 141. We only have 147 here, so we can actually stick with it and proceed. Alright, so for the next game, alright, so let's see what we have here. We are going to look into the head-to-head new. I think these two teams are not in form. It is actually very easy to predict it that their head-to-head average points will be very, very ridiculous. Very, very ridiculous. Alright, so let's see let's see the two teams average point. Okay, the average point is actually higher than the league average point. This is a very good data. 178 points, and it is very higher than the league average point. So if I want to take the risk, I'll be going for 148, because if you look at the league, they are not this league is not a league that score points very well. And if you want to play safe, you go for 138. So there are some factors that you need to consider, like the pace and some other things like that. So, but the bookies are not providing us what we want, so we have to skip some games for that, so that we won't run into something that we don't actually like. Alright, so let's check this one. This is a very poor data. Okay, we have another one. This is another poor data. The average point is lower than the league average point, and we are having a particular team that is actually expected to dominate the game, so we have to skip it. So same thing with this game, the point is lower than the league average point. But if you want to take the risk on it, we can actually go for 151, and if you want to play safe, 141, because the average points the two teams average points scored and considered is actually supporting over, but unfortunately we don't have the line that actually aligned with our save line, so we look into another game. Alright, so we have another good data here, a data whereby the average point is higher than the league average point. So if I'll be taking risk on this game, I'll be going for 154. That is based on my analysis and evaluation of the average point. And if you want to play safe, you go for 144. But unfortunately, we are provided with exactly 154.5. That is a risky game. So, but I'm going to leave it. It is now up to you, the kind of magic you want to use on, you want to apply to those games. So let us look into some other games. Alright, so looking into this particular game, the average point of these two teams is actually lower than the league average point, but in some other aspects like the halftime, first half, the first quarter, it seems like these particular two teams, they score points very well. They score point very well, and at the same time, there is high probability that they considered point very well. So 178 is the risky line, 168 is the save line. Now let's see. Okay, the bookies provide us with 178, which is 1.95 odd, but unfortunately the lowest odd line that we have here is 170, although it's kind of close to 168 because we can't find 168 here, so we are going for 170. I think we can actually stick to that. Alright, so proceeding without delay, let us look into some more other games that we have. Alright, so this happens to be a good game with our good data. The average point is higher than the league average point. So if I want to take the risk for this game, I'll be going for 183. And if I want to play safe, I'll be going for 173. Now, which one are you going for? Which one do you want to go for? So 183 That is 1.78 odd. And 173, I don't think we have that. So the bookies are not providing. So in case if you want to go for the save line, maybe probably you can actually go for 177. I think that is the lowest point we have here. So you can actually stick with that one. Alright, so checking the next game. So this is another good data that we can actually look into, except for the fact that one team is actually expected to dominate this particular game. But let's say we want to proceed and take the risk of predicting the risky line. So the risky line is 189, and the safe line will naturally be 179. So let us see the odd line provided by the bookmakers. So we have 189 at odd of 1.58, but we don't have 179. So let's just we don't have 179. So we are going for the risky line. So we have so many risky line in this edition. It is now up to you to edit out the ones that you don't want and the ones that you would like to leave. Alright, so let us look at this particular game. Let's check their head-to-head new. Alright, so let us look at the average point. Yeah, the average point is actually lower than the league average point, and this is where the problem comes in. This is a very bad data. Let's skip it. Alright, so looking into another game. The average point data is also very bad. But if you want to take the risk, we can actually go for 178, and if you want to play save 168. So let's check the odd line provided by the bookmakers. The 178 is actually there, but we can't have 168. That's bad. So if you want to take the risk, we are good to go. Now moving on to the New Zealand League. Let us look at this. The head-to-head of these two teams is very, very poor because it is lower than the league average point. So the best thing is to just skip it and check the next game. So this one also is good, but depends on how you want to edit it out. So if I want to take the risk for this particular game based on what we are currently seeing, because the data is actually okay, the data is very good based on the consistency factors that we consider. The average point scored and considered, the risky line is 176 and the save line is 166. Will the bookies provide us this line? Let's check. So we have 176. It is very low, and you can see the dangerous, the risky line. That is what is actually common in this particular edition. So we have 11 games, and we are able to get 111 odds from these 11 games. Alright, so thanks for watching. Don't forget to like our video, subscribe to this particular channel. If you have any question, please kindly drop it in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like our video, join our Telegram platform for more actions, for more updates, and in case if you want to engage with some of our predictions, the process of selecting or predicting most of the current ongoing world cup. So see you guys in the next edition. Bye bye.